Well, it's significant in the sense that, well, every time we break a record, I think it's significant, and it's one of these milestones towards an ever warmer climate. So we haven't yet reached the 1.5 as defined in the Paris Agreement, because that's an average over 20 years. But this year, as an average over the year of the last 12 months, we got very close to it. So we are at 1.48, which for all intents and purposes is 1.5. All in all, I think this has been a very exceptional year climate-wise, and definitely, as I said, in a league of its own, even when compared to other very warm years. Clearly, there were not thermometers of satellite 100,000 years ago, or even 1,000 years for what it counts. But we can rely on paleoclimatic evidence. We can rely on the growing rings of the tree rings, or the deposit of sand in the tropical lakes, or the bubble of air in the glaciers. And they had bigger errors, but even when considering those errors, we are confident. We cannot base this statement only on our data, but we are confident in the general literature, scientific literature, that what we've seen in 2023 is very likely to be one of the warmest, if not the warmest year in the last 100,000 years. Well, it's a combination of factors. So El Niño certainly contributed to it, and possibly other sources of variability. So it's not just climate change, but it would be impossible to explain this peak in global mean temperature without climate change. So climate change has been definitely a driver. And what will happen next largely depend on what El Niño will do after. Because if we were to transition, to make a transition into a La Niña phase, which is the cold phase, a rapid transition into a strong La Niña phase, maybe 2024 might not be the warmest on record. If instead it stays around neutral, or even bounce back into an El Niño, then 2024 could actually exceed what we have seen in 2023. But if we zoom out from 2024 and we look at the next few years, it's basically certain that the average temperature over the next 5 years will be warmer than the average temperature of the last 5 years. So there is a trend. So we can only expect this to go up. It's a bit like, throwing a ball down a slope. We don't know exactly the route that will follow, but chances are it will be at the bottom of the hill after a while.